Hello, Alfred. Thank you so much for helping with my project. Could you say a little bit about yourself?
My name is Alfred, and I'm an electrical engineer, and I just get interested in the works that is going on, and for this purpose, there are so many things that are going to happen, and we are sure that maybe some of these projects that are going, they're going to affect everyone around the world. So we will appreciate if all these people, whatever whatever the experiments that are going to be done, they're going to assist us in maybe learning a few things that we didn't know out of this earth, and maybe come and bring development. Also, number two, just for fun, also, engineering is all about fun. Yeah, that's simply that. Huh?
Yes, it's definitely a fun solving problems that have impacts on people's lives. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so when did you find out that we were planning to send astronauts to the moon for the first time since 1972?
Well, I can only say when it was actually engaged by the former president of the US, that is when I got a little bit interest. But anyway, about the rockets that have been moving up and down, the projects about the rocket is very fascinating. So one of those things got me interested. And a friend of mine works for a company that deals with telecoms. So at one point, he invited me to see a video when they are sending a rocket up there. So I actually, that's when this one prompted me to get to know about, to follow that story. And well, I got interested, and then I started following here and there. So I've been seeing the snippets happening here and there. Yeah.
That is that is awesome. Yeah, I mean, so much is changing in telecommunications. I mean, us just having this talk. I mean, it was only like 20 years ago where, uh, you would have to pay to actually talk to the next city over on a per minute basis, and now we can have conversations around the world for essentially
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. Even like we are doing right now. Thanks for the telecom developments and all the innovations, we are able to talk, and you being miles apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's really quite interesting. And you look at these internet satellite constellations like I guess Starlink from SpaceX and Project what Kuiper are from Amazon, and you got OneWeb, uh,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I mean literally they'll be able to provide high-speed internet access to everybody in the world, and everybody will be able to talk to everybody.
Also, those areas that are far flung, where the rural areas, you can also imagine the people who have been maybe locked out of the networks. Those in the far flung areas where there is literal connection, you can imagine now how that one web, for example, will actually open up those areas.
And it's not just those people already living in those rural areas. You might have people living in the city that's going, this is no longer a blocker for me to move out in the country. You
Yeah.
might see people kind of
Yeah.
move away from cities.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was just picking one of the examples about the rural areas where those far flung, and also even those in towns, or in cities, they are able to also enjoy the services. And maybe because of the high speed connectivity, especially those in town, you would understand that people will enjoy better services, and competition comes there, business expands, and people get to know much more of what is happening around the world.
Um, yeah, it's really awesome. I guess, coming back to the moon, so you found out about it when it was announced by the president. What do you think about
Yes.
us going back to the moon? It seems a little bit of a different character than maybe the communication satellites.
Well, at least this time around, for the those people who've been doubting about the whether people went the other time, whether people went to the moon really or not, some of these questions will be answered. And also, at least now this time around, because of the video, the way the advanced in technology, some of those pictures will be sent live and people will be able to see for themselves, one of their own going there, another person, not only from NASA, but are also opening up other people. And people will be able to see it now, not like then when people were just imagining someone went to the moon. But this time around, we have technology to prove that actually someone has gone there and stepped on it.
Yeah, but I guess you know, what do you think the everyday person will benefit from us going to the moon?
Well, from my point of view, I'd say, well, the experiments that are going to be done there economically, and also people now getting, for example, getting if this mining, for example, getting to know the resources that are on moon, if they are beneficial to mankind here, we can use them to advance our lives and change for better. Also, there is also the issue about the tourism of some sort. People going to see, getting out of the normal and going to see new things. One, the mining and also the advancement in technology from the researchers, and also that tourism of some kind where people meet from all over and they're able to board on one craft and also interact. So those are some of the things that I, okay, from my view, I would say, yeah.
Do you think there will be a time when people will live on the moon?
Well, I'm a believer. That's what I'm saying. Engineering, you also try those things that people don't imagine, and by that virtue, you expect. I would say, well, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible as long as people have put the resources there and open minds. Well, it's possible. Anything is possible. People can live there if it's found that it is conducive for life.
Yeah. Um, but I guess what would be the benefits of having people living on the moon?
Well, so, you know, like the way we do in research, also exploring new methods of doing things, and also establishing whether from the moon we know if someone can set a base and go further to other areas, having using that as a hub to go and go to other areas that have never been gone before. So get those materials from there if it's possible. And if it is not, well, I would say we have tried rather than just sitting back and staying back and not doing anything. I would rather when people have actually explored more to get whatever we can get out of this God-given thing. And then we see what advancement we can use from the resources, also the knowledge from that engagement. You can know you can use that to advance what we have here on earth and get maybe some solutions maybe that have been we have been in the lack here.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You know, sometimes you get into a habit or a routine, and
Yeah,
you know, I mean, like for example, in my neighborhood, all the houses look alike, and nobody would build a
yeah,
house that looks different, even if it was better,
yeah,
because it would be different.
yeah, yeah, because of also regulations of that. But now when we do go there, at least people now to learn new things and also open their minds. They become like the universe, they are an expanse of ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, then, you know, if you look at how humanity has kind of taken over the entire globe, There was a point about 500 years ago when there were very few people in North and South America. And then you had this kind of several hundred years worth of migration of people from Europe and from other places moving into South and North America. And since then, so much has changed and developed here in terms of like roads and power generation and people and schools and cities and all this stuff. So that's basically 500 years ago. If you look forward 500 years, how far do you think humanity might be able to go?
Well, it has its downside and its upside, but I want to be positive. I don't want to concentrate on the negatives because we've already not gone there. I will just look forward to the net, to the positive, and the positive is what are we going to learn from those experiments, or what are we going to acquire or gain from that knowledge or by visiting that place, and what do we learn more about the universe so that we are able to plan for ourselves. As also like you said, there was migration. Things have changed, and one of the things is we're able now to talk here and now, or let not for the people who have interacted together and given us the knowledge. We'll not be speaking now. You'll be living wherever you are or where your forefathers were, and I too be living where I am, maybe in a worse, maybe worse situation or yours worse situation. But now we are also we are enjoying. We're able to talk to each other over the lines, telecoms, courtesy of people learning new things.
Yeah, it's true. But I'm also wondering, if humanity is able to figure out how to use the resources in the rest of the solar system and develop places where humanity can live, and humans start living on the moon, on Mars, on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, in these big structures that we create in space. Do you think at some point there might be humans who really don't think of the Earth as being the central place for humanity, that they actually see humanity being much broader and um, spread out over the solar system?
Well, because okay, from my opinion, see the resources are limited, whatever we have here, and that's why you find that everyone is clamoring to own a piece of whatever we have, which is limited. When we get new things and other elements or other things that people can engage in, this is about the competition here, which sometimes goes crazy. People, the competition at least now will give us other things to compete about other than that. Number two, maybe when, especially supposing something like medicine, in medicine health, if we get to get new things of new ways of advancing or helping the humanity through experiments, that is, you can imagine all the tests. Uh, I'm looking at getting cures for other things that we may not have had the opportunity, and that one maybe go on and give us a better life, and people enjoy living on wherever they are better, and the interactions will be good. But I'm looking at it from the engineering point, where we get new way of doing things. And also in medicine, well, I can see advancement when we do the experiments right, and if we take care of the environment too, by through our means or through the ways that we are going to get those materials. I guess we might be in the right path. I don't want to look in the negative, like I said. I want to concentrate on the positives that might turn out to assist everyone on Earth through these tests and through all these exploring. I believe there are better things to learn. We cannot just sit back and wait. Well, God has given us the ability to think. So by that, I think we'd rather try it out and sit back.
It's definitely going to be an interesting adventure, seeing where humanity goes and what it learns and all of that.
Well, why not? I think it's also fun, you know. You when you stay at one place for the whole lifetime, and you know somehow someone get ignorant, you know. You don't learn about other people, but now when you interact and also learn new ways of doing things become even cheaper, efficient, and also there's fun in it. There's fun in it. You can imagine all those things happening if we take care of the environment, as even we do with our engineering. We take in consideration that we still have to protect what we have, and then as we look for other better ways for the betterment of everyone's life. Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, if it was safe and affordable and you could, would you take a trip to space, you personally?
Anytime, even given a chance, I would want to go there anytime.
You would want to go or you would not want to go?
I would want to go.
Oh, and how far would you consider going? Just to orbit or maybe to the moon? Or would you consider immigrating to Mars and living out the rest of your life there?
Well, maybe the farthest, but no, maybe sees living there. You know, you also need people around that you're used to. But you know, everyone we mind about changes. You know, change. People refuse change. But personally, if I would get a chance to go and at least witness what is happening around there, even the farthest point where humans can go, it could be interesting. You know, one or two things would change my way maybe of life or thinking, but I wouldn't mind going even the farthest point myself and witnessing it.
That sounds awesome. Now, I see these videos as being really a time capsule for future generations to kind of look back on this time right
Yeah,
before we take those next steps to to the moon.
yeah.
Um, and is there anything that you think we should capture or talk about that might be important for people who are looking at this 50 years, 100 years in the future?
Well, I would personally would wish see how is the environment before and after, or how we take those steps in preserving it. Number one, number two, so that we also learn, we do so that we don't do things in a different way, whereby we don't safeguard what we are given freely by the nature. So I think it is about say exploitation of the resources. We get to know what have we done in the past 5 years or 20 years, and we can do an iteration and see if we do the same when we go to those other areas in the universe. How what have we learned from what we have done on Earth? What are the positives? We do the positives, those things that we've done negatively and affected our maybe our atmosphere. We do it in a better way, having learned from what we've done on Earth. So I'd rather we pick what is best. We keep our libraries, our archives well with the information. This can be used to draw or map out what we can actually do if we want to go farther than even the moon. So which if we could just preserve what we have and learn from what our mistakes, that is what we've done badly before, and you capitalize on the positives as we look forward to better lives for everyone.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, I really appreciate your time, Alfred. Did you have any questions
Yes.
for me or anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, well, I really appreciate it. It was nice having this talk, even though you inviting me for this interview. And would just wish the information that you get on the issues about their time is the mission. I'm going to get more interested anyway, and put maybe a lot of spare some time on it, and hopefully the information that you get on the other side, maybe you could be uh, it could be maybe available to you. You share the information. So we have the internet here. So share the information. This one might change people who have a negative attitude towards the nation. They might, after the learning these things from getting the right information, this would be important for everyone, and we would all appreciate having new knowledge. Anyway, yeah, share the information. That would be my thing. Just share the information what we got. The way we share over the internet, of course, taking consideration that we don't also infringe on other people's ways, but we share what is factual. Yeah.
I will definitely do. Um, my my family and friends wish that I wouldn't share so much. So it's good to
Okay, I appreciate.
it's good to hear that people are encouraging me to share.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
well, thank you so much, Alfred. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And if you know of anybody else that would be willing to have a discussion with me, I hope you'll send them my way.
I'll let you know, and over the link, I'll also tell them that we had a talk, and then we see how things should be. And I'm glad. I will willingly let people, those people who get interested in it, to also contact you.
I appreciate that. Okay, well, you have a good day then.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.